Well, good evening, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Oh my goodness gracious. This is getting to be cray-cray. The Dallas Cowboys are good for business. You know what? Other teams get talked about because they're really, really good. The Cowboys get talked about whether they're good, the bad, or whatever. They just get talked about. So now we've got the calls for Deion Sanders and for Bill Belichick. Listen to Rich Eisen about how bad the Cowboys are right now.
Sorry, Houston Texans. I know you got your win. I know you ended your 2-game losing streak. I know you're looking good. I know you're feeling good. I know you got your concerns. I know you got the win that you needed.
Got your Nico back.
But unfortunately, you got your Nico back.
Yep.
Okay. Unfortunately, you lost to the Cowboys, which means we've got to, in the national sports media, talk about that. Certainly when they've lost 5 in a row. Certainly when they're all in season. Now, we've been talking about ever since Jerry Jones said the words we're going all in on the 2024 season at the Senior Bowl. That's where it was born.
Wow.
The Senior Bowl. Prior to the Super Bowl, that Senior Bowl in Alabama back in January. When I think Jim Harbaugh was still the coach of Michigan. I don't know if I have my dates right, but it was right around the same time. And the all-in season for the Dallas Cowboys has turned into, has devolved, has fallen apart to the point where the Dallas Cowboys are someone else's get-right game. Especially
slump busters
in the Jones Mahal. Drapes open, drapes closed. Doesn't matter. Roof open for a split moment, roof closed. And I know everybody was making hay with the fact that the roof was literally caving in.
It's like chicken.
Bad.
Falling.
I know, right? Bad optic. That they opened the roof for the first time in 2 years and stuff fell down. Thank God nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
And then the game started. And again, the Dallas Cowboys season has devolved into becoming someone else's get-right game. And it's also come to the point where you're praising the Cowboys for not having it cave in fast. They actually hung in there. I mean, at one point, I'm doing the Westwood One halftime.
Right.
On the radio, and I'm pointing out, hey, the Cowboys gave up 14 to start the game, and just when you thought the boat race was on again in their home, they actually hung in there. Mistakes and all. Brandon Aubrey actually missed a field goal. He actually hit an upright. He didn't split him. And even with all that, they're down 7. And case in point, take a look at what the Jaguars did in Detroit. It caved in on them fast, and then they just...
It was over.
Non-compete from there on out. Dallas showing some backbone. That's not the way you're supposed to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Not on a Monday night against the Texans, whose fans were all over the yard. That's not supposed to happen. And then the roof did cave in, figuratively. And it started to fall apart. Because Dak's up there with a headset, and he surgically repaired a hamstring. And Cooper Rush is trying to make something happen. I mean, the guy did have 354 yards passing, but 55 attempts. That's not what you want out of Cooper Rush. It would be very helpful to have a run game, which they don't have. That's part of the all-in season. It would be very helpful to have somebody other than CeeDee Lamb. Part of the issue is Brandon Cooks took a shot to his knee, and there was an infection that's kept him out ever since the early parts of this season. That's been part of the all-in season. Kevontae Turpin did have a nice touchdown grab where he, according to next-gen stats, had the fastest miles per hour He reached almost 23, 24 miles an hour running to the end zone. It's the fastest of the decade. So you got fast players, you just can't find them. Micah Parsons is out there trying to make plays, overshown. This doesn't matter right now because it's too inconsistent, too mistake-filled, and part of that is because the roster is thin, and they also they're unbalanced. They're all over the map. And these are numbers that shouldn't be read out loud, but I'll read it to you.
It's
Cowboys 0-5 at home. They're allowing 37.4 points per game at home this year with a turnover margin of -11. So I hope the fans that come to the stadium to watch the players eat and work out are getting their entertainment there because it sure isn't happening on the field. They're one of two teams without a home win this season so far as we enter Week 12. The other is a team you do not want to be associated with in the NFC East. The New York Giants are also 0-5
and we
at
play
home.
for Thanksgiving.
And on to their backup quarterback. First time Jerry Jones has ever started a season 0-5 at home. That includes the year they had one win.
Jeez.
They've allowed 25 or more points in 5 consecutive games. That's the longest streak in the NFL. They've trailed by at least 20 points in 6 straight home games, starting with the loss that caused the all-in season. A wild card one and dunning by the Green Bay Packers. That's where we are. And the coach who is part of the all-in season by having no more contractual years after this one,
He's the lucky
was
one.
asked, what's up with this at home?
5 straight losses now, five in a row at home. How do you explain? Can you explain any of this, or
Explain it?
Yeah, having any kind of.
I think the reality it's very frustrating. It's frustrating for everybody. Frustrating for the players. Frustrating for the coaches. I know it's it's disappointing for the fans. But we have a lot of moving parts going on, and we just have to be cleaner and more detailed in certain spots. We're not playing well enough, or execute well enough, coaching well enough to overcome some of the mistakes we're making at critical times in the game. So, just go, even in the first half, we had some opportunities there to get some more points and didn't get it done. We just have to play cleaner in these tight spots, and we did not do that tonight.
Bless that guy, man. I mean, did you see the beginning of that soundbite where they asked him to explain it, and he went, "Explain it," and then caught himself and got into coach speak mode. So let me do Mike McCarthy the favor here.
What were they really thinking?
Explain it.
Explain it.
Explain it. Do you see who's up there where they surgically repaired a hamstring? Did you see the fact that when he had an intact hamstring, we did not have an intact complementary football team?
There you go.
Because I don't have a running back past a ghost of Zeke Elliott and Rico Dowdle? I had to put Dalvin Cook on the active roster, and he's back on the practice squad for a reason. I'm not playing Trey Lance for a reason. I don't have somebody past CeeDee Lamb. I'm down to tight end 3. I didn't have Micah Parsons for a month plus. And sure, could I be coaching better? Yeah, I get it. But you go coach a group of grown-ass men who know you don't have a contract past this year.
There you go.
Brandon Aubrey went on jury duty. Did you see the article? Could you imagine Mike McCarthy saying, "You see the article on ESPN.com? I read that deep dive before the game. I think Todd Archer's reporting that my guy was on jury duty, came at 7 o'clock at night. We had to send him outside of the Star to go kick. The lights weren't on. The sprinklers went off. And he couldn't kick one time because Jerry had to Kids playing on the Star. Explain it. Go talk to Jerry. And scene. Problem is, talking to Jerry, the question is if Mike McCarthy's lost the locker room. This was the Jane Slater show with the owner, Jerry Jones, after the game.
Do you ever see any wisdom in a change of voices in there coming from the top?
Well, I have made a change, and I've made a change early and on a coach with Chan Gailey, and I've always regretted that. And I've made a change during the season, and I've regretted that. And so that's the music I'm listening to.
But given some of the time that Mike's already had here in Dallas, do you feel like the voice is falling on deaf ears to some extent?
What voice?
Do you feel like he's lost the locker room at all?
Well, it's not as though that lost the locker room. I remember John Madden and Al Davis called me after we won one game the very first year, and he said, well, at least you didn't lose the team or the locker room. I said, well, what's that? How do you lose a team? You misplace them on the road or what? And I'm not trying to be cute here, but they say, well, you didn't lose it. Well, I can tell you in there right now with kind of careers a bunch of those guys have, kind of the prospects of their futures, the competitors they are. I don't worry 1 ounce about losing anything as far as in the family of.
What are you talking about?
Listen, I think the team needs a hard reset.
Right.
I think that the hard reset is somebody like Belichick or Vrabel. Just hand it off. Work with them. Obviously, Jerry and the Joneses have a way to run the team, and they run the team like you run your fantasy team. Like you're not going to hire somebody else to run your fantasy team for you. You're the GM. You're the owner. That's what they do. They do that, and they find some really good players. But the way of it being done, the way that it's been done, signing guys late, generationally enriching them late, and building the roster under the manner that it is, the all-in season is an utter failure. Utter failure. It's not working. It's not working, and obviously the football gods keep kicking him in the nards with some injuries. But a lot of teams suffer those. It's just not working.
It's just not working, Jerry. It's just not working. I couldn't have said it better myself. I couldn't have said it better. If I'm Mike McCarthy, it's like, I'm so glad that you didn't renew my contract so I can get the hell out of here. This is some bullshit. It can't be any fun for any of the players or the coaching staff where you literally have Jerry Jones out here, we're all in, or, we're going to do more with less. What kind of philosophy is that? Jerry, fire yourself, buddy. Fire yourself. Enough to make you drink.